It's like it's almost like an aggro mage, this secret version.
It's so difficult to guess what it's going to be playing, what he's going to be playing.
And this is the thing that if you're one of these players, it's so difficult going into a week of like actually knowing what they're against. One thing that you can be sure of is it's very likely that they're playing this mid-range / face hunter. Osha definitely bringing that one to the table, and look at this. It is going to be the Miracle Rogue coming out from Duncan.
I'm not in the slightest bit surprised about that. Arcane Giant, fantastic fit. Going with Zarul, not always a card that fits into these Miracle Rogue decks, but you can see why it's good. It gives you 2 1-mana potions that function similarly to spare parts. The ability to stealth your minions is incredibly strong, and it also makes Arcane Giant cheaper, and combos with Auctioneer and Edwin Van Cleef. It doesn't really have, you can't. It's got a lot of uses.
And also, the combination of that alongside Sherazim the Corpse Flower, Zarul costs 6 mana. Costs 4 mana, sorry. With the 2 potions used that turn, 6 mana total, you have 4 mana remaining to play a 4th spell and resurrect your Sherazim when it goes into its seed form.
Now, Duncan, not going to have any choice here. Very quick play coming up. We're going to just dagger up, hit one of those minions. This is a very fast start from Osha, and unfortunately for Duncan, there's no Fan of Knives or no way of dealing with a wide board, so he needs to hope that Osha doesn't have too much of an aggressive start here.
Yeah, and Fan of Knives, even against this kind of board, if Jewel McCourt and Fiery Bat go down, Fan of Knives feels great. Kindly Grandmother, Fan of Knives feels awful, frankly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Sap feels a little bit better, though.
Yeah, Sap feels pretty good. I kind of like Kindly Grandmother into Coin Infested Wolf the following turn. Curious that he's running Infested Wolf. That's something we've not seen anywhere near as much of recently.
It's in and out, isn't it? It's sort of like Direwolf Alpha. It's one of these cards that you can run. It kind of slows the deck down a little bit more, but gives it a little bit more consistency on turn 4.
Certainly a very strong turn 4 play.
Now, Duncan's actually going to be quite happy here, I think, to just swing the weapon into the cute alley cat and dagger up again later on. Or he can do it this way. He can kill the grandmother, backstab the 3/2. There's not that much pressure on the board. Hold on a second. Is he clearing both? No, okay. It looks like the backstab was going towards the one. That was a little bit confusing.
I was like, is he actually going to commit a deadly shot to this 3/2? Seems a little bit overkill.
So Osha probably just going to drop Animal Companion. Could coin out the Infested Wolf. Would be a little bit awkward for Osha to deal, for Duncan to deal with. Sorry.
Yeah, I quite like the Infested Wolf, but it's kind of just down to what you prefer to play. Either way, you can still curve fine with the 1-drops the following turn. It's kind of just down to your personal preference. Leok, kind of the worst possible of the 3 options, though.
Yeah, definitely. You could definitely make that argument here. It's putting an extra damage on Osha's side of the board, but that's it.
I think in this scenario, this is the one of 3 where the other player is just simply better. Because Leok came out, I think if you build up more of a board first and then the Leok comes down, suddenly that's a really good play.
Now, Osha getting Giant Wasp from that Jeweled Macaw could actually be a pretty big deal against Rogue. If Osha can just put that down a little bit later, it prevents Duncan from playing an Arcane Giant. It means that Osha would have an immediate answer to a Gadgetzan Auctioneer, because Giant Wasp is hard to deal with.
Yeah, it certainly is. Now, we have found a Crackling Razor Maw, which another way to fill out these mana curves. Now, we found, I mean, Osha's hand has been pretty great this game, just in terms of having a way to use all of his mana perfectly every single turn, which sometimes in Hunter, when you're just trying to commit to the board, and you have to commit to the board every turn, can be a little bit difficult to do. He's had no struggles whatsoever this game.
Yeah, Gadgetzan Auctioneer picked up off the top. Something that a Rogue would usually love at around this point in the game, but there's no preparation in Duncan's hand. There's no counterfeit coin. So even next turn, on turn 6, when it's time to drop the Gadgetzan Auctioneer, it's not really going to do anything.
Are you ready for the Mimic Pod into double counterfeit coin?
Oh my goodness.
That's what I live for.
Oh, do you know what? I think in this situation, double prep would be fine, because next turn, Gadgetzan Auctioneer, prep, spell, prep, spell. Oh my goodness.
Either one works perfectly fine with those 1-mana potions as well. Like, there are options available for this Mimic Pod, and there is the prep as well. He can just deal with, first of all, the Leok this turn, and then next turn, with that Auctioneer coming down, he will have so much to work with.
I won't lie to you, Munch. I'm a little bit excited. I'm a little bit excited about this next turn. I've been playing a lot of Miracle Rogue myself recently, and turns like this, they're not so fun to play against.
Yeah,
but as we are right now, sitting on the side of the Miracle Rogue, it's an exciting turn.
This is one of those things that I always find when I play it never seems to happen, but when you tune into a Maz or whoever streaming, you see them every single game. They get these kind of crazy combos that just cycle through their entire deck. These, I think, right, knowing what I know, having seen both hands, I go with the poisonous, right? However, Osha does not know what we know. He does not know that he's going against an Auctioneer double prep this turn. And Living Spores, definitely not the worst option.
The really funny thing is that Giant Wasp might even eat up a Deadly Shot.
Yeah.
Is it possible for Duncan to force that? Let's find out.
The thing is, 4 1/1s come out from that Wolf this turn. So Fan of Knives basically has to be found to deal with that Sap. Oh, actually, no, Sap just completely ruins that anyway.
Duncan just needs a way of getting rid of that Crackling Razor Maul. Counterfeit Coin, such a good pickup. If he can get a backstab from this. The fact also that Duncan can stealth the Gadget Sand Auctioneer is a little bit silly. Doesn't even need to hit the Wasp with the Deadly Shot this turn.
Yeah, and again, just pulls another card Shiv. Not quite what he's looking for. Praying for something to deal with that minion. He won't be able to find it this turn.
You know, there are some Arcane Giants in Duncan's hand, and they are getting quite cheap to play.
I mean, that is one way of wording it. Another way of wording it is, oh my god, what are we going to see next turn? 16 damage is dropped for 4 mana. I know I've been talking a lot about value of stats for mana this broadcast. 16 for 4 seems pretty darn good. He's just managed to out-mana the Storm Giant.
On the flip side,
Guardian, sorry.
On the flip side, Duncan, in the flip-flop side, Duncan has 15 health left. And Osha has Tundra Rhino and Bitter Tide Hydra. That is a 10 damage, 8 mana combo.
10 mana combo.
10 mana, 8 damage. 10 damage, sorry. 10 damage because the Tundra Rhino also has... Oh my goodness, right.
It might as well be a Pyroblast.
It might as well be
for the sake of argument.
But that's almost Duncan dead right there. Obviously, Osha doesn't have 10 mana just yet. He's quite a bit off. But the point is, there are ways that Osha can get there.
And he can also set up for that quite nicely. Just dropping like an Infested Wolf and hero powering this turn is perfectly fine. Just making sure that by turn 10, you get your opponent down low enough. Now, the question is, do you survive to turn 10? That's 4 more turns when you've already seen a huge amount of draw come out from this Auctioneer, with the Arcane Giants potentially dropping on this turn, and quite frankly, I'd be surprised if they don't. Whether or not Osha actually gets to turn 10 could be a different story entirely. I think more likely we see the Tundra Rhino with things like Fiery Bat and other 1-drops come out to try and finish off the game.
Isn't it funny? We're almost in the position where the Rogue is going to have to be aggressive and
just try and race.
Get that damage into the Hunter's face quicker than the Hunter can kill you. Duncan needs to clear this entire board one way or another, and it is possible. Yeah,
it is very doable. If you trade the Auctioneer, Fan of Knives, and then Deadly Shot, that is the board dealt with. You still keep your Auctioneer on board, and you draw a fair few cards in the time. However, how much card draw do you actually want to achieve this game?
Duncan's hand is full. In fact, he's going to mill the Auctioneer here, I think. Yep. I don't know if that was intentional or not.
He hasn't reacted on camera, so I'll assume that that is intentional.
Either way, this play is pretty devastating for Osha.
Yeah, I'd say it's a fairly good play. The double Arcane Giants while clearing everything, including the poison. Unleash the Hounds is another good bit of damage, especially if you can get that in a combination with a Leok. Bear in mind, 2-turn timer now in play.
It is a 2-turn timer, absolutely, and Duncan does not have 30 damage in 1 turn. So, it's possible for Duncan to win this. There's nothing he can get from Hallucination that heals him, though. He'd need a Hunter Taunt card, or like a Freezing Trap or something. No, even that's not good enough. I think Osha wins this, and I think Duncan losing the Gadgets and Auctioneer may have factored into it.
The Unleash the Hounds and Tundra Rhino will be enough to finish off the game. None of these cards make a significant impact on that. And frankly, it doesn't even matter if the Fiery Bat survives. You have the damage with the weapon, with the hero power, and then Tundra Rhino and Unleash the Hounds. So much damage that is simply unblockable for Duncan, because if there's one thing that Rogue, and specifically Miracle Rogue, is famous for, is no taunts whatsoever and very minimal healing. You occasionally see Earthen Ring Farseer. We haven't seen it in these decks recently.
Is this lethal for Osha? No, it's one off, isn't it?
No, it's lethal.
No, it's lethal.
With the Tundra Rhino and the Unleash the Hounds, you get
right.
4 damage plus the weapon plus the hero power.
I'll be honest with you, Munch. My heart is sinking right now. Given that as I said to you before, I've been playing a lot of Miracle Rogue myself recently. I've been in this position Duncan's in, and it's horrible. Everything is just coming together. You're there, you've got the damage, you're about to win, but Hunter is pretty aggressive and just slips in before you get there, and it's pretty upsetting to be in that position as the Rogue.
Osha has not noticed the lethal. If he had, the game would be over right now. I think he may have just spotted it now as he attacks into face.
Wait, it's not lethal. It's not.
Oh no, you can't hero power. What am I talking about?
Right.
Sapcasters.
Sap. Munch.
Sap Munchables specifically. Getting too hyped before the game is actually over.
This is what I thought, because I was looking at the hero power and the Tundra Rhino, and you were looking at the Tundra Rhino and the Unleash the Hounds, and somehow
we combined our ideas without adding up the mana costs. So it is going to be Duncan taking that one. Big smile on his face, and I once again we're trying to make a 10 mana combo without having 10 mana, but it is going to be Duncan just about taking that one.
Well, my heart jumped back up again, because as I said, it was sinking at the Rogue losing. The Rogue won, so I'm happy now.
Yep. You made the mistake that many a viewer and many a caster has made before, and that you believe the words that I'm saying.
If I was Duncan, I'd have conceded that. No, I wouldn't have, obviously.
Yeah, if you were ghosting the stream and you had a 5-minute turn. That is going to be the Rogue done with for Duncan, but he still has a Hunter and a Mage to finish this series off. The Hunter, wouldn't be surprised to see basically the exact same list as what Osha is running, and basically what everyone else in the tournament is running right now. And the Mage, we'll have to wait and see what that one is going to be. Could be another Freeze Mage that we've seen a lot of tonight. In fact, before the break, out of 10 games, we'd seen 6 Freeze Mage games, and currently 2 and 4. Not the greatest, but also 2 reverse sweeps that it's done.
Yeah, no, Freeze Mage just won 1 game, right? Because Ball Control got swept with his Freeze Mage. He lost all 3.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right.
Freeze Mage not putting on a great display tonight.
1 and 5.
Whoa! Osha's pre-mulligan there had all of the discard cards you could possibly imagine. The I forget its name briefly. The 4-mana 3/8 taunt that discards 2 cards in your hand. Not one you often see in Zoo, but Osha is running it.
Yeah, Osha not looking happy with that hand, but the Flame Imp will be somewhat of a silver lining for him, and we'll drop that one immediately to start this game off.
Yeah, that really puts Duncan on hold, actually, because Duncan doesn't have any 1-mana minions. He's going to have to just go ahead and play Kindly Grandmother, which I assume Osha trades into. Zoo is all about controlling the board.
Needs 2-drop here. And he will actually find one. It's not the best.
It's a 2-mana 2/2, which is fine in this situation, but it feels like such a waste.
It does, but I think you just have to bite the bullet. I think if you lose board in this matchup, you probably lose the game.
I agree. I think he plays it. One of the skills to playing Clutch Mother correctly is the playing it at the right time and not saving it for value. Like, people can get stuck in their mind, oh, I could discard that 3 times, and then it's an 8/8. But then you lose the game before you get the chance to play it.
Yep.
So I definitely agree with Osha playing it. It's one of the marks of a better player. This has got to be a Flaming Claws, right? Let's just go ahead, kill that Flame Imp.
It's like, you're not going to trade with me, I'm going to punish you for that greedy play. Now turn 3, Councilman could welcome down Librarian. I mean, you arguably could do it just for the draw, but I definitely think Councilman is just simply the better play in this scenario, especially considering you can deny that it's killable on board right now. Obviously, we can see that Hunter's Mark will change that dramatically.
Yeah, Hunter's Mark, not a card that we're commonly seeing in Hunter at the moment. But
it's been seen a bit. I think, especially on ladder, it's been seen a fair bit. Just because when you end up against things like a Quest Warrior, that can be the difference between finishing the game and not.
But this is why Zoo is a little bit disappointing sometimes, because if it can't get a hold of the board, it just struggles, and Duncan is doing a fantastic job of keeping Osha off of this board. He's able to completely deal with everything that Osha has.
This is one of the most frustrating combos to go against when a kindly grandmother gets buffed up by a Houndmaster. You have to deal with it because it's a 3-3 and it's going to consistently smash you in the face. But the second you deal with it, you bring out another minion. It always just is so horrible to have to go up against. And it's similar to like when you manage to Houndmaster an infested wolf. It's like the same but worse.
Who knew a year ago that one of the most terrifying cards in the Hunter deck would be a grandmother?
I think Goldilocks knew. Well, not Goldilocks. Little Red Riding Hood.
Little Red, that's
one of
the
them.
one.
One of them.
That's the one. Wow, Nesting Rock looking incredible here. A 5-mana 4/7 with Taunt. Pretty strong card in the set. Even if you don't achieve the summoning condition and play it without Taunt, a 5-mana 4/7, it's pretty good stats. It's the same stats as Fugan, which was a decent legendary back in the Naxxramas days.
Way back when. Assuming that you were also running Starlag, that is.
Well, even so, I mean, a 5-mana 4/7 was fine. Starlag was terrible by comparison. You don't want a 7/4, but a 4/7 was fine. And give Fugan Taunt, and it looks pretty good. It's also a beast now, so...
Yeah. So that second Houndmaster in hand looks pretty great. Obviously, Savannah on turn 6, I think, looks a little bit better, but, you know, also... there's the argument of just Houndmastering up as well as an Alley Cat, and whatever one-drop you happen to pull off the top, just go as wide as you can, because Zoo just cannot deal with a wide board often.
Let's be realistic for just a moment.
I'd rather not.
How does Osha come back from this? Duncan got complete board control here. He is able to dispatch everything that Osha just played. And he's got Osha down to 18, dropping a Savannah high main in the process that Osha's not going to be able to deal with. Osha needs something very, very, very good to come back from this, and I can't think of anything in the Zoo deck that will do it.
No, even Doomguard just simply wouldn't be enough at this stage.
Doomguard does very little here, funnily enough.
Which is one of the very few scenarios where that's a sentence you can actually say. Osha, going to agree with us on that one. Concede to this 2-0. Once again, a series starts 2-0.
Now, that's interesting to me that Osha conceded so early, because that's something that, while you do sometimes do that on the ladder, in a tournament this much at stake, often players would rather stay in the game for as long as they possibly can. Osha was either completely sure there was no coming back, as we were, or maybe starting to get a little bit tilted.
Possibly it's... I've known Osha to get a little bit frustrated towards the end of Premiership seasons, and I imagine when you've gone 2-0 to start things off, didn't quite qualify last time, looking at a 2-0 this week, potentially a 3-0 if Duncan can keep the momentum rolling, I know I would be getting a little bit frustrated. I don't think that was necessarily a tilt concede, because, I mean, we were just saying it before he did. It was looking pretty bleak for that Zoo deck, and when you do fall behind on board, I mean, we'd said it right at the start of the matchup. As Zoo, you have to stay ahead. And that Hunter's Mark, I think, was the absolute... like, that was the turning point in the game where it was like, okay, the Hunter probably wins at this stage, because the Councilman got taken out and there was no way for Osha to really pull himself back.
It's such a bad feeling when you're playing that type of deck that kind of relies on you being ahead on the board, because you're drawing the pieces that they don't do anything, and it's just a sad feeling.
Here we go.
Duncan with the freeze mage. Right, hold on.
Are we ready for a 5-game series, boys?
Just hold on just a second here. So this is the 3rd series in a row where one player has been 2-0 and then had to play the freeze mage and continued to lose 2 games in a row.
I'm ready.
Duncan here to show us that's not always the case. Freeze mage is capable of winning more than, well, what we've seen so far tonight.
Well, Alex Straza in hand, not the greatest, but the rest actually pretty good, right? You've got Archaeologist, which pretty decently synergizes with Medivh's Valet to continue to wrestle for board control. The Loot Hoarder early, obviously, one of the cards you're actually looking for in a mulligan as Freeze
Right,
Mage.
Arcanologist, 100%. You want that in your opening hand every time, every matchup. Loot Hoarder's fine too, and Medivh's not going to be played within the first few turns, but actually could be hugely relevant against this Hunter come turn 3 and turn 4. Once there's a secret on the board, just to snipe off a Crackling Razormaw or a Huffer or something.
I like coining out the Loot Hoarder on this turn.
I like the Arcanologist.
Well, I mean, I guess you could play the secret turn 3, but you're not in any rush to play either of the secrets that you have. Loot Hoarder just gives you more available options in the following turns. You already know what you're going to get from Arcanologist, right?
Yeah.
Either Ice Block or Ice Barrier, neither of which you desperately need in the upcoming turns. The only way that you actually need it is to play it in combination with Medivh's Valet.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, a couple counters to that is that the Arcanologist, if you play the Loot Hoarder first, draw your secrets, that can be bad. But on the flip side, there's 4 secrets. And Duncan there's no way he's going to draw all 4 secrets before he gets to play this Arcanologist. The other thing is, in this situation, your Loot Hoarder does not trade well with the Kindly Grandmother, whereas Arcanologist would have killed it for free. In fact, Duncan could have just pinged the Kindly Grandmother and... Oh, he still can do that.
Yeah, you can still make the trade.
I'm talking rubbish. This Loot Hoarder's great.
I think the thing is, you can also play Arcanologist this turn. You still get all of this synergy with your Valet, with the secret and everything. And also, I like not actually going for the trade because it means that, you know, Osha actually has to be the one proactively trading. And as you say, the Arcanologist trades well into the 3-2.
Right. Okay, so Osha going to snipe off that Loot Hoarder with his... Oh, what's he thinking?
So, I think
okay.
the Crackling Razormaw, I wouldn't have minded playing this turn just to look for HP for your 3-2. Obviously, you give a different 3-2 to kill, but you just put a threat on board that's going to be very difficult and very awkward to actually deal with. Leok, once again, not the greatest to find. He wanted a Misha there.
Now, interesting few decisions that Duncan has to make here. He's got 2 Medivh's Valet in his hand. Now, usually you'd want to play the Ice Barrier before you play Ice Block because it's better in the early game. However, on this occasion, if he's to play Ice Barrier next turn, and Osha just trades into it, then suddenly his Medivh's Valet doesn't have his activator. So this is probably one of those few occasions where you want to play Ice Block first, just to guarantee the Medivh's Valet procs next turn.
Yeah, I mean, now with Leok on board with 7 HP, he's definitely going to be looking at 8 damage per turn, especially with the hero power as well. But we'll see. As Fireball has been found, but that's the only burn that has been found for Duncan. He already has that Alexstrasza, but realistically, counting lethal is the last of Duncan's worries at this early stage in the game. He does have a Blizzard to try and slow this board down, but that's a couple of turns away itself. Primordial Glyph is going to be his way of searching for some answers. Flame Geyser
looks very nice, right? In most matchups, you'd want the Arcane Intellect, but I think against a Hunter, a 0-mana Killer Crackling Razormaw, that seems pretty good to me.
Yeah, and also just another card for a little bit of board presence. Definitely we'll have to try and get rid of that Flame Elemental, because, well, if we were wondering whether or not there's any tilt going on with Osha, I think that astounding answers that question.
Yeah, do you know what? In these tournaments, you don't tend to see emotes that often, but as you said, Osha obviously not feeling great right now. Trying to get into Duncan's head, but all he's doing is making Duncan feel more confident. He knows, I'm ahead right now. My opponent knows I'm ahead right now. I'm just going to stay calm, keep doing what I've been doing.
I think there's 2 ways. I mean, maybe we're reading too much into this emote. I think the other way that it could have been construed is, look at this. I have a Houndmaster to drop. Look how much HP. Look how terrifying this Leok is. This is the most terrifying Leok you've ever seen.
Okay, well, Duncan picks up his 4th secret. So the next Arcanologist he draws isn't going to do anything. It's 2-mana, 2/3. It's a River Crocodilus without the Beast Tag.
Not that the Beast Tag would do much for Duncan anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, we finally got to that Blizzard turn I was talking about, but now against a 4-9 and a 4-3, Blizzard doesn't feel that great. And you have to start to question at what point do, first of all, these secrets get dropped, and also at what point do you have to start using burn just to deal with minions?
It's tricky. It's pretty much, you get to this point against Hunter where you just have to start freezing everything all day long. Just freeze everything. Use your Blizzard, draw more freeze. That's how he wins the game. Doomsayer with Blizzard, obviously, very, very nice. If he can afford to save the Blizzard for that turn. What's Osha going to go with here? Sure, okay, extra 1/1, extra survivability there. Seems fine.
Get 1 HP out of range of Blizzard. Probably one of the most pivotal cards in this entire matchup. Completely agree with that decision. 12 armor for Duncan, but it will be chipped away at very, very quickly as 4 damage from each of these beasts on the board. He's feeling pretty great.
I don't know if you can even call that chipping away at this point. More like just knocking
Chunking away.
Chunking away. I like it. I like it.
Now, double Doomsayer could be an option here.
I wonder,
I don't think it's the best option, but
I wonder if you ever consider it. Like, you play the Medivh's Valet, you drop both Doomsayers. It pretty much guarantees the board clear, and then if the board doesn't get cleared, you've probably still got the 2/3 on the board.
Unfortunately, while that is the thought process that probably goes through your head, with the deadly shot in hand, as well as a kill command, it actually doesn't guarantee the board clear.
Absolutely. In fact, deadly shot kind of prevents it from ever being guaranteed.
Yes, so I think I would probably also go with this play, but I think Duncan is going to be very unhappy with the result.
He's hesitating. Was he just going to play one? Oh, okay, you could just play one and save the second Doomsayer for Doomsayer Blizzard. I like that a lot too. The Doomsayer essentially here eats up 7 damage, which could, in the long run, buy you an extra turn, which is all the Freeze Mage cares about, buying as many extra turns as possible.
So now, Osha with the decision on whether or not to try and use removal here. He has the option to. That 4/8 taunt as well, if you just trade on into the Doomsayer, actually is pretty huge for a Bit-Tied Hydra. Unleash the Hound's also incredibly good this turn. Yeah. This is like the best Call of the Hounds? Call of the Hounds?
Why not?
That's
Go
not
with
the
it.
name of the card. Anyway, it's the best you're ever going to get. With a Leok in play, 4 minions on the board for a Freeze Mage basically never happens.
No, I completely agree with you. When are you ever going to get more than even 2 Hounds, usually, in this matchup? And Leok just makes it a little bit sweeter, right?
Yeah. I mean, 3 mana for 8 damage is awesome, quite frankly.
The question is, how much of this does Osha decide to put into the face? He's going to kill command the Doomsayer, trade into everything maybe, and just buff up that Scavenging Hyena? Seems pretty good to me.
Yeah, Osha agrees with you on that one. I think going to trade into that Fire Elemental as well, just to guarantee a good trade. Still in range of a Fireball, but will once again remove that burn.
Interesting thing, I was wondering if Osha might decide to put all of that damage into the face instead. It would have been around 18 damage total, putting Duncan down to about 3 or 4, which would have meant a few hero powers would have killed him.
This is really bad news. He used the kill command on the Doomsayer last turn. It was greedy, so he could get the face damage, and now he will be heavily punished. Deadly Shot only has a 50-50 of saving his board. And the Rat Pack draw is not going to be good enough. Osha overcommitting the resources last turn, may well be punished for it now. Let's see if the Deadly Shot lands. It does!
Okay. Yeah, so that would have been, I guess, a punish for Osha not just going face with everything last turn.
Yeah.
Could have put Duncan really low, and then Osha wouldn't have needed to care about his board anymore. Just smack that hero power a few times. Oh boy, okay. Wow, hold on a moment.
I don't think Osha likes Hearthstone that much right now. Just going to throw that out there. Alex Straza will come down this turn, I would expect.
Well, this is a 2-turn lethal, just as simple as that, unless Osha runs on either of Secrets or a Flare, which I find pretty unlikely. Fireball next turn, plus Ice Block, followed by the Pyroblast the turn after. This is just a solved lethal from the Freeze Mage. It's one of the reasons that a lot of people like Freeze Mage so much. You've kind of got it solved, and the Ice Blocks protect you and prevent your opponent from doing anything about it.
I've got to say, we've seen all of these Freeze Mages draw so many secrets. Like, I think basically every game we've seen the Freeze Mage have 2 Ice Blocks and 2 Ice Barriers, whether or not they got the Arcanologists, which is a situation that often you really don't see for Freeze Mage. One of the biggest things I think we've seen Freeze Mages lose to in the past is just not drawing their Ice Blocks.
Well, against the Hunter, against any deck, when you've got the damage you need, unless they have the healing, Osha's gone. Osha just looks like he's just keeled over.
Yeah, he's... that's what Freeze Mage will do to you, my friend.
He's logged off of that PC, he's gone home. No, okay, he's back.
He's taking his headset off. He is not a happy chappy right now.
Meanwhile, though, Duncan, with the 3-0 win, is going to be qualifying.
He certainly is. That Ice Block will keep him alive. The Pyroblast next turn, unless we see some bizarre tech-in of healing, which seems very unlikely.
Or Flare. Those cards will also win him the game.
Yeah, I mean, Flare legitimately could be a possibility.
No, second bit of Hydra, not quite going to do it. Duncan with 1 health left, going to take it.
Osha, unfortunately, still not quite going to be making it. Yeah, if he needed any more burn, there it is.
Duncan doesn't even want to tilt Osha anymore. He knows he's done enough. Could have played the one off the top.
I think, yeah, in that scenario, when you've already won this series and they've been emoting that much in a game,
give the guy
forcing
a break.
the tilt